NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bringing your latest in your Brooklyn Nets news. Lots we got to talk about today, lots we got to go over, so let's just dive right in, shall we? Nets free agency has basically come to a close, and barring anything drastic like a signing falling through or the Nets making a trade or something, the Nets roster is basically kind of set. The Nets really, I don't want to say struggled in free agency because they did get some guys they wanted, but they really missed out on a lot of players they were trying to get, like Jared Dudley and Jamal Crawford and Kent Bazemore and Alan Crabb and Tyler Johnson and so on and so forth. But they did manage to get some decent players and some possible surprise players, and all in all, they have a very good little young team of possibility. That being said, I am a little disappointed in the Nets free agency. I know a lot of people are happy about it because they made no dumb moves, or I know they're making steps in the right direction to rebuild and all this stuff, but personally, when I look at the offseason moves the Nets have made, I scratch my head a little bit, and I kind of don't understand exactly what Sean Marks' plan is. Like, I get he's trying to get as many good young players who can develop into something better as possible. That's why he got Jeremy Lin. That's why he got Anthony Bennett, of all people. You know, that's why he got Justin Hamilton, who they think could be pretty decent. You know, that's why they made the trade to get Karis LeVert. You know, that's why, you know, they signing Joe Harris, so that's unofficial. You know, they're getting all these guys. They got Trevor Booker, who they think that despite him not quite being a younger player, but as someone who they think could still develop into something better. So they're getting all these guys, these young guys, who they think they could develop into something better, and then they are throwing in a couple free agents like Gravis Vasquez and Luis Scola and Randy Foye. And I'm just there saying, you know, I get it. You want to try to keep this team with a youngish type of nucleus that can develop over time, and you want to plug in players with potential to maybe shock someone. But at the same time, there could have been definitely other moves that I personally would have made if I was Sean Marks. You know, first and foremost, I still don't get them trading Thaddeus Young to get the 20th overall pick to get Karis LeVert. I still don't get it. I thought when I saw free agency pan out, I would have gotten it, but they didn't even try to go after Ryan Anderson, which I wanted them to do. I know Ryan Anderson apparently said he had his eyes from the beginning set in Houston, but they didn't even try to get him. They didn't even try to get any type of substantial power forward. Like, Trevor Booker is great. I like Trevor Booker. High energy guy, very athletic, good rebounder, working on his outside game. He's kind of inconsistent, but with his outside game, but he's developing it, trying to work on it. He's a good player. I like Trevor Booker. But there's no way I'm going out there saying, oh, part of the reason why we can part with Thaddeus Young is because we're going to get Trevor Booker. Like, I don't get it. And once again, why did they have to trade so high up in the draft to get Karis LeVert, a guy who's projected to be literally in the middle of the second round? Like, once again, maybe there was something that was happening that I wasn't aware about, that maybe Sean Marks, the Nets, knew, saying, oh, maybe a lot of teams like LeVert, and maybe secretly LeVert was going to go in late in the first round. But I don't get it. I don't get why you had to trade Thaddeus Young, one of your best players, who was on a very friendly cap contract too, to get LeVert. Like here's what I would have done. You want Karis LeVert, you want Isaiah Whitehead. That's great. Do the trade you did to get Whitehead, which was trading the 55th overall pick and McCash for the 42nd overall pick. But LeVert was projected to go in the second round. Are you trying to say there was no other player the Nets could have traded or to get into the early second round? How about Bojan Bogdanovic? Look, I like Bogdanovic. I'm not crazy about him. I know he has his moments, like that, what was that, 54-point game he scored or something? I don't remember. It wasn't that much. I think it was 44-point game he had last season. Like, he has his moments. Sometimes he's great. Sometimes he's bad. But personally, I'd rather have Thaddeus Young on the Nets than Bojan Bogdanovic. You're trying to say Bojan Bogdanovic couldn't get the Nets into the early second round? Like the 38th overall pick or the 35th overall pick? Come on now. I'm sure they could have gotten with Bogdanovic up there. Heck, Bogdanovic could have even gotten like the 28th overall pick in the draft. So late first round. Then you could have gotten LeVert. Then you could have gotten Whitehead. And you could have kept Thaddeus Young and kept Thaddeus Young and Brook Lopez. Like, I was running through this, and I'm like, you could have, like, all the guys they could have kept Young and traded Bogdanovich instead. I just don't understand why you had to trade Young. Like, I was thinking maybe they're planning on trading Young because they're going to go and get another top tier or higher level, power forward like a Ryan Anderson who could, or a Harrison Barnes for that matter, make the cap space to go after Harrison Barnes and use him as a power forward because he's capable of being a stretch four. And that way, Young's off the contract. You can, you know what I mean? But no. Who did they get? And who was their big free agent they were trying to get? Jeremy Lin. I think Lin's going to be good. I think as a starter, he's got potential. I know the whole Kenny Atkinson thing, that, he was mentored by Kenny Atkinson when he was with the Knicks, which we all know what happened there, and Linsanity was created. I like the Lin signing. I like the Booker signing. I like the Gravis Vasquez signing. I think that's good. Veteran backup point guard. I even like the Luis Scola signing because he's a veteran out there, and I know they're saying, he's going to be the power forward. I see him more as the backup center because I know he can play the center position for Lopez. Like, I like those signings. I mean, but then we got people like Randy Foye and Joe Harris, and worse than that, in my opinion, Anthony Bennett. I mean, I understand maybe they're going to strike gold with Bennett, but that's a long shot. I don't get those type of moves. I don't. And then there's, Justin Hamilton, whatever. Like, who knows what's going to happen with him. But players like Randy Foye and Joe Harris, why? I get it. You struck out another free agents, and you need to at least fill up somewhat of the salary cap because that's what needs to be. It needs to be, I think, 90% of the salary cap needs to be full, or else, there's problems. I think if they don't end up getting over I think it's, in this case, $86 million threshold or $80-something million threshold by the end of next season, they got to pay the difference anyway to the players, so you might as well sign players. I get it. But there's other guys they could have gotten that I think could have helped them. One guy in particular, I talked about it in my last episode, Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon wasn't even talked about with the Nets, and that gets me really mad. He was a perfect fit for this Nets team. He's a combo guard, for more of a two than a one, but he's definitely a combo guard. But he can shoot. He can play, outside, inside. He's a complete scorer. Yes, he's had some injuries lately, but when healthy, he's really a very complete scorer. Why not get him? He's signed in Houston for $12 million a year. You're trying to say the Nets couldn't have offered him the same contract? Heck, offer him more money to bring him away from Houston, because he apparently also wanted to play with Ryan Anderson. Once Anderson signed with Houston, Eric Gordon's like, I want to go there. But hell, if I was the Nets, I'd been like, Gordon will give you $15 million a year. Same years, 4 years, $15 million. We know that you are an 18 to 20 point capable scorer. You can be a go-to guy on this team. And it's a little of a logjam right now with the Rockets when they got James Harden and then they got Trevor Ariza. And they're not going to start Gordon at the point guard because he's really not a point guard. He's really more just a two. So where's he going to play? Like, you're paying him $12 million to be a backup. That's fine. But if I was the Nets, I'd be like, I'll pay you $15 million to be a starter on a team and prove your health, because that was the whole thing. Prove your health. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I did the calculations. If the Nets did not trade Young and they traded Bogdanovich instead to get either a late first round or early second round draft pick for LeVert, and I'm telling you, that could have been done. So you trade Bogdanovich to get LeVert instead. You keep Thaddeus Young. You sign Eric Gordon, and you still sign Vasquez, and you still sign Scola. Guess what? The Nets would still be around $90 million in cap space, depending on if they use their veterans minimum to sign Vasquez and veteran minimum to sign Scola, which, by the way, they did not. Sounds like they're going to use their cap space because they have so much, so they might as well. You can get almost the same exact team minus Foye and Joe Harris and Anthony Bennett, but add Eric Gordon to the Nets and keep Thaddeus Young. The way I did it with the contracts, and by the way, I'm plugging in the contracts and with the Nets players actually signed for, and I'm putting $15 million in for Eric Gordon, as if I'm saying, and I'm telling you, I think Eric Gordon would have come to the Nets for $15 million to be the starting shooting guard, and he's 27 years old. It's not like he's old. He could be one of the more better guards in the league. That's not true. Let's not get carried away. But he could be a very good scorer in the league, which the Nets are going to need. They need someone who's going to score other than Lopez. He could have been the perfect second or third option on that team. The Nets could have had Jeremy Lin, Eric Gordon, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, Thaddeus Young, and Brooke Lopez as their starting lineup. They're going to have Vasquez as a backup, Sean Kilpatrick as a backup. The small forward spot, okay, it's going to be a little thin. Why not have LeVert be the backup small forward? And then have Trevor Booker be the backup power forward, and then have Scola be the backup center. Then you can have Justin Hamilton and Chris McCullough and Karis LeVert and Isaiah Whitehead all be third-string players that have opportunities to play when someone gets hurt. You're trying to tell me you couldn't have done that? I think you could have. And I think that team would, A, be very competitive and compete for at least the A seed in the East, and B, you're not going to hinder your young talent because they'll still be a second or third string players as they should be when you're moving on, because other than Chris McCullough, none of these guys really should be plugged into the rotation right off the bat. They have to have time to get their feet under them. LeVert shouldn't be. Whitehead shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Like, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, we started last year, so he can be a starter. Really, McCullough is the only guy that the Nets really want to take from not playing too much and plugging him into the rotation. But then, if that was the case, though, why did they get Anthony Bennett, Louis Scola, and Trevor Booker and create a logjam at power forward? Like, there's 4 power forwards there. Where's McCullough going to go? Like, seriously. So, and even Justin Hamilton plays the power forward sometimes. So that's 5 power forwards that the Nets created, and supposedly they want McCullough to be one of their main guys to develop? I don't get it. You know, they even created a logjam in the point guard position for Whitehead. They have a lot of confidence in Whitehead. They like Whitehead. Well, they have Lynn, they have Vasquez, Randy Foye can play the point guard position. They said they're going to move him there. They're talking about LeVert being a combo guard. They got, like, Whitehead is 5th on the chart, 4th on the chart. How can you put guys that you want to develop up there as a 4th string in basketball? I understand the 3rd string because that makes sense. 3rd string is when there's an injury, opportunity knocks. But there's so much cluster on the Nets roster, then they bring in Joe Harris. And like, what's the point of that? I mean, I get he's young. He's in his 2nd year. He got inconsistent playing time with Cleveland. He's a great shooter. He can be a very good player. I get it. But when you look at what the alternative could have been, like, I created that team. Keeping Young, getting Eric Gordon, and not hindering the growth of the Nets players, future players, and getting this team to be a competitive team. They don't have a draft pick next year. I mean, they do. They can swap with the Celtics. Being bad gets you nowhere next season. Nowhere. Nowhere at all. And let me say something else. You want to go for the youth movement, get young players who are who have potential that maybe haven't hit their potential. Why did the Nets go after Terrence Jones? He's like the definition of a guy who has a lot of upside who just hasn't had a great opportunity. He's 24 years old. You're trying to say the Nets couldn't have gone after him instead of go after Anthony Bennett? Anthony Bennett? Are you kidding me? I just am baffled at that. Like, if look, Sean Marks, obviously, look, I don't want to question him. He knows more than I do. I'm just a passionate fan. He's an actual NBA GM, and I'm sure he has a bigger plan or knows what he's wanting to do. But I'm just here confused. And like I said, I don't hate what the Nets did. I like a lot of the guys they brought in. I think it's going to be fun to watch. The Nets are not going to be a very good team. They'll be lucky to not finish in the bottom 3 this season in all of the NBA. But, you know, just confuses me. I feel like there was better moves that could have been done. And look, I understand they struck out on a lot of guys. I think getting Alan Crabb and Tyler Johnson would have been fantastic. The other guys kind of baffled me a little bit. Jamal Crawford and Jared Dudley. Like, really? You really think those guys would have mattered? I'm just saying it's a little confusing. So either way, though, the Nets did bring in some good players. The key to the Nets' success next season is really not going to be wins or losses. It's going to be how these guys got to develop. Is Jeremy Lin going to become a solid starting point guard? He's capable of being a 16-6 player. I think that's a possibility. Anything more than that, I think is a little pushing it. But he is the Nets' biggest free agent, like the biggest. And that's saying something. As a matter of fact, I actually started working on a song called Linsanity, the Nets' biggest free agent, which I'll be more than happy to share with you guys sometime in the future. I haven't finished it yet, but you know, NetsBoy likes to play and perform mediocre songs for his fantastic viewers. So I've been working on that, and that's probably going to be maybe my next video, maybe a video after that. So keep your eyes open for that. But, you know, but seriously, That's the big free agency signing. Like a lot of these other signings, I like some of the moves they made. I like players like Booker. I like having Vasquez as a backup. I like Skull. I just don't get why Marks went after certain players and not other players. That's all. That's all. I know the plan. It seems like the plan is for the Nets to have a lot of cap space to possibly make trades. Maybe that's something else he's looking at, saying, okay, we didn't get the guys we wanted to now, so let's get a lot of players that just fill up our team. We'll have tons of cap space, and we'll look to try to make a trade down the road during the season. Okay, I guess that's probably what the plan is. And then going into next season, they're going to have almost $50 million in cap space again to go after even more free agents. So I get it. Maybe that's what he's trying for. Maybe he's saying, we missed the guys we wanted. We'll keep our cap space open. We'll go after guys via trade during this season, and maybe next year go after more free agents. Maybe they're going to trade Brook Lopez soon. That's a possibility. Not at the beginning, but I think coming to the trade deadline, you're going to hear tons of rumors about him. That's a possibility. Maybe that's the way they're going right now. But for my point is, I feel like there are a lot of other moves that could have been made. Me personally, I give the Nets offseason, as of right now, there's been no other trades or nothing else done, a C+. A C+ because I'm kind of like, okay, I see it. But I'm not ecstatic. And I really feel like there could have been better moves done. That Young trade still kind of baffles me. I really don't know why that happened. I really don't. Like I said, you're trying to say you couldn't have traded Bogdanovich? Seriously? Like, Bogdanovich is still on the team. I acted like he was still traded. Talked about another logjam at the guard position. Bogdanovich, Randy Foye, they say Karis LeVert can be a hybrid. Isaiah Whitehead can be a hybrid. Joe Harris is a hybrid. Once again, lots of clustering going together. These players, a lot of Sean Kilpatrick. Like, seriously, you created a lot of competition, which is going to be good, but also bad. Like, whatever. Tell me what you guys think. I know that the overall reaction, you like what the Nets did, but when you think about it, tell me if you really think that every move they made was great. I think there's a lot of decent signings. I like what the Nets are doing. I just feel there could have been something better. So comment down below. Tell me what you think about the Nets moves. Is there some guy you think they should have gone after? Is there somebody you wish they didn't go after? We'll see. Because the Nets roster is basically set. And as for Summer League, I got to watch, the Summer League. Nets lost in the quarterfinals. Whitehead had moments of greatness and then moments of what is that? Same thing with really all the guys are like that. Kilpatrick, McCullough, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, those are the main guys, obviously. Whitehead, they all had moments of, wow, that's great, and then moments of, but that's what you're going to get with young players. But anyway, they lost in the quarterfinals. It was a joy for me to watch because I like seeing that, but that's all I'm going to talk about that. So there you have it. That's what I think about the Nets free agent signings. We'll see what they do moving forward. Like I said, my next Boy episode may not be for a while. It might be the Linsanity biggest free agent song, so keep your eyes open for that. That could maybe come in a week or two, maybe a little bit longer, who knows. And unless something else drastically happens with the Nets, I probably won't have another episode for a while. So, other than the song, keep your eyes open. So that's going to conclude that. Now, I unfortunately have to end on a very sad note. NetsDog, who has been featured in several NetsBoy episodes. For some of my newer subscribers, he's the cute little guy that's dancing around, like I'm having him dance around in the opening intro. He has unfortunately passed away. He was only 8 years old. He was my dog. He was a good friend of mine. And I featured him in a lot of NetsBoy episodes, so please go in the NetsBoy archives and look at some of them that says NetsBoy featuring NetsDog. He was a fan favorite. I know he was. He had just unfortunately gotten really sick out of the blue, really. It was kind of a shame, and he passed away. And it's really a big shame because I was actually working on a NetsBoy special called NetsDog Takes Over, in which the video was going to be all about NetsDog, and he was going to talk to you guys like I do, but it was just going to be him, and I was really working on it. I was thinking about doing that as my 100th episode, which is right around the corner, but unfortunately, death is a part of life, and, rest in peace, NetsDog. I'm going to leave him in the opening credits because, like I said, he was a part of NetsBoy, and he always will be, so rest in peace. So until the next NetsBoy episode, this is NetsBoy, signing off.